No,
Nice person. At least I don't think I do.
No, I leave,
All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the November 21st meeting of the Ames Community School District Board of Directors. I will call the meeting to order and entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
so moved.
Second.
Moved by Beerbaum, seconded by Franzen. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes 5-0. And we will now read our purpose statement, and we would invite anyone in the room to join us in reading it as well. We'll wait till it's up on the screen here. Maybe. Okay. Oh. Okay, that's okay. We'll go ahead and read it this time, school board. The Ames Community School District commits to equity and access that empowers every individual to reach their full personal and educational potential. Thank you. Okay. So our first item on the agenda tonight is our discussion items, and we'll begin with our board committee update. And the only thing we have for this evening is our ACSD delegate assembly. So we'll turn it over to Director Franzen.
Okay. So we had our delegate assembly, which all of you were there. So I did get a chance to update you, but the legislative assembly, we did adopt all of the legislative resolutions that were proposed. There were a couple of minor changes that did not impact meaning, and we did also approve the public policy agenda for the Iowa school boards. And I think the biggest shift in the public policy this year is they're really messaging students first. And so all of the messaging around what they will be advocating for with our state legislators and our governor is how all of these things really are centered around how we're keeping students first and how their education is our top priority. So.
Thank you. Any questions for Director Franzen? Okay, then we will move on to our teaching and learning update with a new course proposal for PE. We'll turn it over to Director Miller.
Thanks so much for having us here this evening to talk to you about some ideas that we would like to propose around adding some courses in the PE department at the high school. What you have on your agenda packet are the forms that the board policy requires. So you'll see the detailed agenda for the packet for each class there. We've tried to summarize some of the highlights in our presentation for you this evening, so you can kind of get a broader sense of what we'd like to do. So I'm going to turn it over to Tara Stemsrud, who's here from the high school, to talk to us about the PE proposal.
Good evening. I'm Tara Stemsrud. I am one of the PE teachers at Ames High School. I've been with the district this is my second year. Previous to that, I taught 17 years in Des Moines and in Council Bluffs. I have been part of curriculum reviews before. I wanted to lay that before you before we go through everything. Currently, we have 4 different options. We have weights 1, weights 2, peer PE, and move PE, in which we have not done any curriculum reviews in a long time. So we got together as a group and we looked at what other districts have. We looked at what our students want, and this is how we came up with the proposed PE offerings. Keeping weights 1 and weights 2, changing their descriptions a little bit to be more clear because they're a little vague, changing peer PE to a unified PE. It's a nationwide change with that class. And then proposing aquatics and lifeguarding, outdoor recreation, lifetime activities, and team sports and games, which really takes move PE and differentiates it for the students. One of the things that AIM strives is to help lead efforts to cultivate in our schools equitable institution by identifying, addressing, and eliminating the barriers that create inequities in learning for all students. And I wanted to bring that to your attention because this has not been shown on paper in PE. And I think by offering all these classes, that's the move that will happen. So we polled the students. We knew what we thought they would want, but we wanted their voices to be heard. So early this school year, we polled them and we wanted their voice to be shown. And they didn't hold back. We didn't want them to hold back. And we wanted their feelings to be heard. And in doing that, we saw what we thought we would. Being given this curriculum, the Move PE curriculum, it was outdated. I didn't have the equipment necessary to teach what was in it, but it did have the national standards. So there was something, but students came to class to move, but not to learn and grow in their individual strengths. They're exposed to a variety of activities at our middle school level. They get to choose then at the high school level an avenue that identifies with them. However, they get to us, and that's not available to them in PE. So now we want to bring in that choice so that their individuality is there for them and not to stifle their needs. They had a lot to say. That's why there's 2 slides of this. So the PE professionals in our district agree with the students. The experts in our field agree with our students. And the students agree with each other. When we took these were all repetitive comments that we saw over and over again from our hundreds of students at Ames High. We need choice. So we gave the students a list of the choices after we polled them and we saw, and we want to listen with intent to honor their voice. So that's what this next slide is. They overwhelmingly want change. So when you look at these percentages and you look at what we have available, it's there, and we can bring this to the forefront of what they want. So the first course is Aquatics. It kind of speaks for itself in its name. But the purpose, there are kids that don't necessarily want to join the swim team, but they love the water, but they might not know what to do. Like, all right, I played as a kid in the pool, now what? So it is a way to teach them how to use the pool for fitness, how to use the pool for fun, as we want them to be lifelong active learners. The second course is lifeguarding. As we all know, there is a lack of lifeguards nationwide, but it definitely showed in our community with the pool hours. They were being cut short because they couldn't staff it. We have the staff. We can create the staff. By offering a lifeguarding class, we solve that problem in our community, and it can overflow into the smaller communities around us as well. Outdoor recreation was one that we saw over and over again. Kids asking about hiking, kids asking about archery. These are things that they've been exposed to at the middle school, and then they come to us and it's non-existent. Two of us do hold our NAS certifications. That's National Archery in the Schools program. We are both very passionate about this. One teacher made sure this summer to take extra courses to ensure that they are ready to go with anything that this class would need. Lifetime activities. Again, these names just speak for themselves. Our goal is to show kids what they can do after graduation, what is available to them out there in the world. I always tell the kids I went off to college and I had no clue what racquetball was. I had no clue, but no one had ever taught me. And so if we can give these kids what's out there, then they're more apt to use what our community has available to them. And then there's those that they might not want that individual. They love the team aspect, but they don't necessarily want the competitiveness. So this class would then offer them that opportunity. It also is an opportunity to show what careers are out there beyond just being a player. There's managers. You can be a coach without having been on the competitive field. There's so many different avenues that we can show these students that then they can go on past graduation to continue on to. Questions?
I don't have a question, but I think it sounds fantastic. I've had several kids go through high school and the only PE class they took was weights or pure PE. And when I was in high school, I took tennis, swimming, bowling, etc. So I think it's fantastic to give kids opportunities to learn all kinds of different sports. So thank you.
Thank you.
I'm happy to hear that our pool will get have an opportunity to be used during the day, even more by our students. But yeah, great job. And the only thing that it made me think about is, are you connecting with Parks and Rec so they know that you're going to be hopefully supplying them with a field of staff? So awesome.
A question I have really comes down to scheduling. Like I like the idea. I think it's a lot of options. How difficult is it going to be for students to schedule into the PE classes they'd like to have without overlapping with academic courses at the same time, things like that?
So that came up when we met. And one of the things is offering things adjacent semesters. So like if aquatics is first semester, lifeguarding is second semester. Lifetime activities, if that's like a first semester, team sports second semester. And then also seeing what options that they choose, and then seeing, do we need to have 2 course offerings of outdoor rec and 1 of team sports? So it's dependent upon students.
Sorry, letting the registration numbers dictate sections a little bit. So these would be put in the course handbook should you choose to approve them next time. And then we would let students register, and then we'll kind of see how it shakes out for sectioning.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I agree with everyone else. This sounds awesome. And I'm really excited to, anytime we can give our students more choice, that's a great thing. So
Thank you.
thank you for being here
Thank you for your
tonight.
time.
Okay, we don't have anyone signed up to speak under discussion items. So I will go ahead and open our public forum, and I will read our statement on public comments. Residents of the district, students attending the district, parents or guardians of students attending the district, and district staff members may address the board about any topic relevant to the district, whether on the current agenda or not. Those who wish to speak must sign up at the beginning of the meeting. Speaker participation is limited to 3 minutes once per item. The views and opinions of citizens addressing the board do not necessarily reflect those of the board, district administration, or staff. Speakers are to remember that Iowa law prohibits the board from discussing specific employees, students, or their performance. Student speakers will state their name and school. Others will state their name and address. And first we have Victoria Van Boris.
Good evening. I gave you a week off last week, so now I'm back. I have a couple of letters to read in support of naming the Ames High School auditorium after Wayne Hansen. The first one is from Terry Mickelson, and she writes, during my 30 years of teaching at Ames High School, I worked with many impressive colleagues who were appreciated and admired, but none more than Wayne Hansen of the drama department. He influenced so many of his students and actors who became devotees. I'd like to begin my day with a cup of coffee and a witticism from Hank. He made me laugh or gave me a bit of knowledge to ponder. He must have done the same with students because they sure enjoyed being around him. At the start of the school year, when Dr. Farrar called the faculty together for a meeting, it usually began with a short give and take between Mr. Hansen and him. It seemed off the cuff, but must have been discussed beforehand. It made us laugh and put us at ease and helped us realize that we enjoyed being together. Again, Ralph Farrar had a great respect for Hank because he knew that Mr. Hansen was effective with those students who were harder to reach. Ames High and the drama department were the centers of Hank's life. It was a simple life, back and forth to school and home, with occasional trips to Indianola, Omaha, and Minneapolis for the opera. He was an extremely knowledgeable person. He could discuss art, theater, music, history, geography, movies, poetry, you name it. His devoted students scattered all over this country and the world, practicing their skills and crafts, and would be proud and delighted to learn that the theater at Ames High School had been named after him. It's a student movement inspired by nothing more than appreciation. Terry Mickelson, former Ames High School Spanish teacher for 30 years. And I also have one from Dave Dewitt. Hank was a coordinator at a co-worker at Ames High School for many years. He made each person feel special and everyone was his friend. He stood as a pillar for the school and the community. Hank Hansen exemplified the heart of passion for the stage. He went above his career as an educator and touched the hearts of many students. As a friend, he was always there with a listening ear. Hank never judged and offered guidance to all he befriended. Few have the compassion for drama on the stage that he held close. He put a smile on our faces and made us look deeper into our own life directions. I'm proud to have called Hank my friend. Hank's talents in leading a theater are unmatched. We should honor Hank for his great contributions. Dave Dewitt, fellow faculty member for 20 years at Ames High School. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Victoria. Balaji Narasimhan.
Thank you to all of you for your service on the board. So I'm here to represent a group of parents that is significantly concerned about the limitations to the number of Iowa State University courses that our students are required to take now under PSEO. So in looking at a survey of more than 170 parents, there was overwhelming support for increasing choice and not for reducing choice, particularly when it appears that this may have been a misinterpretation of state law, which could potentially be reconsidered because it's more voluntary and it depends on the school district rather than something that's required by the state. This is also particularly exacerbated or exemplified by the fact that there are at least a couple of school districts. One is Gilbert, which is our neighbor, and Iowa City, both of which are offering their students this increased choice with respect to the courses that they could take under PSEO, both at universities as well as at other options. So I want to talk a little bit about the personal impact that this has on my own children. So I have 2 children that are in the school district and they are in high school, and they have filled out 4-year plans and requiring them to take courses that will require them to go to Ankeny and spend time will have a significant impact on their ability to complete their courses in those with those 4-year plans. We, of course, have enjoyed being in the school district for a number of years, but we also need to look out for choices that our children would have. And we just want to make sure that accurate information is presented to the board with respect to the voluntary nature of this rather than the requirement that the state would impose. And so personally, for our own kids, we have no wherewithal to send them to Ankeny to take these kinds of classes. So while, of course, we would not prefer this at all, it would force us to look outside the district for their schooling or even homeschooling to do this. Now, you might argue that we're already here in Ames and students could always take courses at Iowa State. That would be an option, of course, for students to take. However, there are 2 points that need to be considered with that aspect. One is that those courses, if they're not taken under PSEO, will not appear on their Ames High transcript. And secondly, the cost of taking those courses independently at Iowa State without going through would essentially be double. And so there will be equity issues with respect to giving access to those type of courses for students. So these are just a couple of examples of how such a policy might impact students in the district and also potentially impact parents like us who have to significantly take these kinds of decisions in terms of continuing on in the district. So again, we'd be happy to share this kind of information and the survey results with members of the board. And thank you for giving us this opportunity to talk about this and for reconsidering this going forward.
Thank you, Balaji. Katie Lavrov. That microphone may need to be switched on.
Does this work?
I think so.
Hello, my name is Katie Lavrov, and I'm a senior at Ames High School. I'm here today to advocate for the PSEO program, and I'll do this by briefly sharing my personal experiences with PSEO and how limiting the program has negatively impacted me. First, the positives. Last year, I took 5 classes at ISU, 3 of which were biology classes and 1 a French class. I had already completed all of the possible biology and French classes in my freshman and sophomore years at Ames High School, so the ISU classes allowed me to continue my education in these subjects. Being able to continue biology was especially important for me because I'm planning to pursue a career in it. Without the PSEO program, I would have had 2 years without any practice in biology, and I believe that would have made it a lot harder for me in college. But that was last year. This year has been different. When I was registering for classes, I decided I wanted to take Calculus 2. This was the logical next step after having taken Calc 1 last year. However, my request to take it at ISU was rejected because of the new policy. The school informed me that I'd have to take it at DMAC, but that was impossible for me. I rode my bike to school and I had no way of getting to the DMAC campus, which is much farther away than the 10 minutes it takes to bike from the school to ISU. The only other option was online, which after trying to learn math online during the pandemic, I discovered doesn't work for me. As a result, I'm not taking a math class this semester at all. The same thing happened for the French class I requested. This new policy has directly prevented me from continuing my education in 2 different subjects. In conclusion, I would like to ask the board to please reconsider their decision regarding the PSEO program. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Katie. Leslie Kim. Okay, I don't see Leslie, so we will go ahead and move on to our Zoom participants. And we'll begin with Natalia Rogovska. And you've been given permission to speak.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Natalia Rogovska. I live at Thackeray Drive, and I'm a parent of current and former student of Ames High. I would like to address an important point raised by several board members during June 6th discussion about PSEO and concurrent enrollment. It was suggested to the board that from fiduciary perspective, it makes more sense for the district to contract DMAC courses, which are $50 to $70 cheaper, rather than allowing students to continue taking those courses at ISU. The final cost difference for the number of students earning college credits at nearby university was never presented. Please allow me to assume that about 20 students were requesting ISU courses every year. So this difference in cost would add up to just $1,400. This small investment would enable our students to conveniently access college credits right here without the need to drive to Boone or Ankeny. If the needs of those 20 students are not met, they will likely exercise the right to open enroll neighboring Gilbert or dual enroll in Ames High School through homeschooling, the option our family is seriously considering if the current policy remains in place. Under the dual enrollment, district will receive only a portion of state allocated 76 current per student, and parents will be financially responsible for ISU tuition. Financially, this is a lose-lose situation for both the district and the parents. Let's turn it into a win-win situation by not contracting inaccessible DMAC classes and allow students to take them at ISU. Again, it will cost the district up to $150,000 a year in lost enrollment of those 20 students, compared to $1,400 investment in these students. Given those numbers, I would argue that from fiduciary perspective, it is devastating for the district to contract DMAC for popular ISU classes, which will negatively impact already declining certified enrollment numbers. Just to remind you that this year, district lost 45 students and is facing almost $400,000 loss from open enrollment. I hope this will add a different perspective to what was offered to you as you reconsider your vote, and please keep in mind that access to post-secondary education is dictated by law. Voluntary and knowingly contracting essentially inaccessible DMAC classes, thus preventing students from enrolling in a nearby post-secondary institution, goes against the law. After all, students should not be coming here begging the district administrators for something that is given to them by law and paid for by taxpayers. I would urge the board members to take an extra effort and look into the possibility of reversing contractual agreements with DMAC yet this year and allow students to take popular STEM courses at ISU in the coming spring semester. If it was possible to amend the DMAC list by adding more courses this September, it might be possible to amend this list by removing courses. Please explore this possibility. And again, thank you for your service to the public.
Thank you, Natalia. Zhengyuan Zhu. You've been given permission to speak.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. So my name is Zhengyuan Zhu. Live in 2708 Cambridge Drive in Ames. I have two kids in the school district in 8th grade and 10th grade. So last week I presented some partial survey results, and today I'm going to give update on the survey results after we have done this for one whole week. So the first one is the student survey results. In this survey, we have 57 students completed the survey. For the question, are you interested in taking a college course in high school at either ISU or DMAC? The answer is 53 yes, and 4 maybe, 0 no. So 93% of those students want to take a college course, 7% are considering that. The second question, most of the ISU courses popular among Ames High School students no longer be available if the current board decision stand, and in most cases you need to travel to another town, Ankeny or Boone, to take the course. Which of the following you agree with? Option 1, this will prevent me from taking that course. I will just do something else. 24 students choose that. That's 42%. Option 2, this will make it very unlikely for me to take this course. For another 24 students take it. Option 42% again. Number 3, this will make it somewhat less likely for me to take that course. 8 students, 14%. Number 4, this is not a problem. Only 1 student makes this choice, 1.8%. The next question, many college courses require in-person lectures and basically in-person versus online. 49 students, which is 86%, prefer in-person class if both of the options are available, and only 8 choose online option when they are available, 14%. The next question about credit transfer. There's a difference between the credit transfer from DMAC class versus ASU class. And 53 or 93% of the students think this is very important. 4% of the students, four of them think it is somewhat important. None of them think this is not important. And then the question, if you have the option of taking a course either at ISU or DMAC, which one would you prefer? 96.5% of the students, 55 of them, say they prefer ISU course, and only one of them prefer DMAC course. So at the end, there's another several pages of students' written comments. I don't have time to read them through, but I will send out this summary of the email to the board member. A few very quick words about the parent survey. The total number of respondents increased to 188. So 181 said that the 178, sorry, agreed to sign a petition for the board to reverse their decision so that their students can take the ISU courses. And that's what, and we also listed 170 names at the end of the survey for which those people who want to sign on a petition for reversing that decision. So I will send both of these survey summary results to the board member for your consideration.
Thank you, Zhang-Wan. Okay, and we don't have anyone else signed up to speak, so I will go ahead and close the public forum and we will move on to our consent items, and I'll entertain a motion. Oh, did Leslie come in? Did you want to speak?
Were you?
Oh, yes.
I'm not Leslie, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I move approval of the consent items as presented.
Second.
All right, moved by Beerbaum, seconded by Limkaitis, and Dr. Lawson gives to the district.
Yes, the superintendent's office received the completed form and recommends acceptance of the following gifts from an anonymous donor, 3 anonymous donors, approximately $91 in value of various books for the benefit of Meeker Elementary Media Center, and John Peeler from 3M donated painter's tape, command hook, scotch tape, and other items, an estimated $200 in value to or for the benefit of Edwards Elementary.
Thank you. It was moved by Beerbaum, seconded by Limkaitis to accept the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes 5-0. Moving on to our action items, we will begin with the 2023-24 board meeting schedule.
I move the board approve the 2023-24 board meeting schedule as presented.
Second.
Moved by Franzen, seconded by Beerbaum. Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Passes 5-0. New Ames High School construction project change orders.
I move the board approve the change orders for the new Ames High School construction project as presented.
Second.
Moved by Beerbaum, seconded by Franzen. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes 5-0. Moving on to our board and staff items, we will begin with items from our student representatives. And do you have anything for us this evening?
I don't believe I have anything at this time.
Okay, that's okay. It's a short turnaround with this meeting, so, okay. We will move on to items from the board, and I would like to begin with sending our condolences to the family, friends, loved ones, and students of Mary Kay Polashek, who passed away early this morning. And for those of you who don't know, Mrs. Polashek was the orchestra teacher in our district for 35 years before she retired this spring. And she was a phenomenal teacher. She was actually my orchestra teacher when I was at Ames High. Really just did amazing things for the orchestra program, and we will miss her dearly. For those who are interested in attending services for Mrs. Polashek, the visitation will be held tomorrow, Tuesday, November 22nd at 4 p.m. at St. Cecilia Church. And the funeral will be Wednesday, November 23rd at 11 a.m. at St. Cecilia Church. Are there any other items from the board?
I wanted to thank the ninth grade science teachers for inviting us to their public exhibition last week. It was awesome to see students out and showing off the projects. The other thing, and just because I've been in facilities forever, that was really nice to see that was happening. There was a girls' basketball game happening. I think there was a swim practice. I think the building was just full of people, and it was the way we were hoping, where it was easy for people to get in and out and to organize and do things and use facilities. So I just thank the district and all the high school staff for all the hard work to keep that going.
I will just mention that next week at the end of the week is magical. And I know we have some of our performers here, so I'll give them a shout out if you get a chance to go to it. It is a phenomenal performance. So I'm hoping I'm going to be able to squeeze a visit into it. So good luck to all of you in your final preparations.
Any other items from the board? Items from the superintendent?
No items from the superintendent this evening.
Okay. Then we will move on to our board planning calendar. We do have a work session following this meeting. And then our one and only meeting in December will be December 12th. And that one will also have a work session. Any questions or comments on the board planning calendar? Okay. Then we will take just about a 3-minute break here, and we'll reconvene for our work session, and we will end our live broadcast at this time.